Happy New Year. Yay, you're a homeowner. I'm so excited for you. Now that you've had a chance to get into the house, start settling up, it's time to file for homestead exemption. We talked about this briefly during the home shopping and at closing. And if we didn't, I apologize. Now we're going to talk about it. So when we were looking at homes, I normally would say, okay, this is a 3.5 tax rate, or this is a 2.7 tax rate. I would tell you what the tax rate is when we were searching for homes, because that is so important on what you're paying for taxes every month. When you have a primary residence, that means you're living in the house, you get one homestead or one exempted property in Texas. So if this is your only home in Texas and you're living in it, then you want to pay attention. We're going to go ahead and do a screen share. I want to kind of give you an idea of how homestead, over 65, disability, veteran with disability, and veteran with 100% disability will play into how to fill out the form. Once we get through that, then I'm going to pull up the form in Harris County, show you how to walk through it. The forms are very similar at Brazoria, Fort Bend, and Galveston. I will pull those up as well so that you can see those. If you want one-on-one, I am going to do a live one-on-one Zoom training on Saturday the 8th at 10 a.m. So in the body of the email that you should have received, there will be an invitation to join the Zoom call. So let's do a screen share. This is the one I want, and you're not going to see me for a while, which is kind of good. You can just pay attention. So the statutory authority code, tax code, chapter 11, you get various different exemptions that you could qualify for. And the way the exemptions work is you have a mandatory exemption, which means you qualify for that regardless of the different entity, whether it's school, city, county, MUD, anything like that. And then you have the local option. So the mandatory is a flat fee or a mandatory fee that you get off of the price of the house. And then your local will be based on each entity, whether it's the school or the MUD district or whatever. They get to choose what it is. So let's walk through that. In the example we're going to show, it's $100,000 appraised value, and Ms. Smith was able to qualify for the following exemptions. So she's over 65, she's 68 years old, so she gets her mandatory general homestead exemption. She gets her local option at 15% because that's what her taxing entity gave. She gets her over 65 mandatory, and then she gets her over 65 local. So the house was valued at $100,000. She gets $25,000 off because the general down here, as you can see, general homestead mandatory for school is $25,000. So we have $100,000 minus $25,000. Then she has homestead, which is a local option. It can be up to 20%, but not less than $5,000. Her local option was 15%, so that's $15,000. So now we have $75,000 minus $15,000. She's over 65. The mandatory over 65 exemption, as you can see right here, is $10,000. And then she's over 65, and the local option for the school, county, or the city, county, and special districts, they adopted $3,000. They did not elect to do a percentage. They did the least amount they could do. So now we have the $100,000 minus $15,000 minus $3,000 minus $25,000 minus $10,000. That means she will be taxed on the balance of $47,000. So when we're looking at the taxable amount, the amount that I said, okay, this is what the tax rate is, a 2.7. She would pay 2.7 on that $47,000 that's remaining. So it's important to understand which exemptions you may qualify for. We have our general residential homestead. So when you file for homestead, you're getting both the general, the mandatory, and the local. So you automatically will get $25,000 off your appraised value. And then depending on your local jurisdiction, you could get up to 20% or only $5,000. So it really depends on the local districts. Your age, farm to market road flood controls, that's if it's applicable, it's $3,000. You're over 65 or disabled. So if you're 65 years of age or you're disabled, and what that means is you have a disability that qualifies for purposes of payment of disability insurance benefit under federal old age, survivor, and disability insurance. If you get a check for disability, then you need to make sure you file for this exemption. And you can qualify for both over 65 and disabled. So keep that in mind. It's a mandatory $10,000 and the amount that they adopt not less than $3,000. Disabled vets. So if you are a veteran, we thank you very, very much for your service. And if you happen to receive a disability and it is a percentage base, so you are 50% disabled, your percentage of exemption will be determined by your disability. So if you are 50% disabled, your amount will be by the percentage of the service connected to your disability. That's mandatory. If you're a disabled vet with homes donated by charitable organization, again, same thing. It's a percentage of your disability. If you are 100% disabled vet, this is mandatory. It is 100% of the property value. If you are a surviving spouse of a U.S. Armed Service member killed in action, it is 100% of the property value. If you are a surviving spouse of a first responder killed in the line of duty, 100% of the property's value. So again, this is going to be linked to your information below. You have from January 1 until April 30th to file for these exemptions. Exemptions are important to go ahead and file, and we want to do that if you qualify for a disabled vet or over 65. You can actually file those anytime throughout the year. So Homestead has the timeline. All the other ones are immediate. You can also, if you fail to file for homestead exemption, if you're seeing this and you closed in 2020, or if you closed in 2020, you can go back and go up to 2 years after the deadline has passed to file for a late application. Appraisal districts, you're going to swear an affidavit that all the information is true. And then do you have to file every year? You don't need to file every year unless you get a letter stating, hey, you have one of the big disability, you have one of the exemptions. Is this information still accurate? If you fail to respond to them, they might remove your exemption. So if somebody's asking you about it, make sure you file for your exemption. All right, so now that we've seen that, let's go ahead and go over to, we're going to go to the county appraisal site. So we're going to use Harris County just because it's easy. It's hcad.org. And again, we have, well, I've got to stop the share. And now we're going to reshare the new page. So this is Harris County's website. Share. Okay, let's try this again. I think I'm doing it wrong. Stop the share. Then I'm going to share my web. Sorry, I'm not the most tech savvy person. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our county website, whether it's Harris County, that's hcad.org, Brazoria County is brazoriacad.org, Galveston County, galvestoncad.org, and Fort Bend County, fbcad.org. We're going to go to Forms, Popular Forms, and we're going to file for our homestead exemption. Now's the time to go ahead and get your warranty deed out from your closing so that you can see the information you're going to need. It's going to ask for a CAD number. If you don't know your CAD number, you can always go back to the appraisal districts page, do a property search, search by address. We're going to go ahead 10811 Sage Willow. And it doesn't, of course, you type your own address in here and search. In here, you'll see the CAD number up here. And then the legal description right there. So keep those two things in mind. You're going to need the CAD number, the legal description, the property address. So put your CAD number in here. Did you own the property? Yes. And then choose your exemptions. Again, homestead, disabled person, person 65 or older, 100% disabled or surviving spouse. And then you've got to answer the question here. You know, if the disability is permanent disability due to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, yes or no. Surviving spouse of an armed service member killed in action, surviving spouse of a first responder, and then donated residential or partially disabled veteran. So this is where you would put if you had just a percentage of disability. Surviving spouse, you put your deceased spouse's name and the date of death. Cooperative housing, exclusive right to occupy the property because you own stocks in corporate housing, yes or no. So if the company owns it and you own you own stock in the property and you have the authority to live in the property as homestead, then that's where you would put it. And then name of the housing corporation. Were you receiving a homestead exemption on a previous residence? So did you sell your house and move to another one and you're now putting the exemption on a new property? So yes or no. If you did not sell another house or you're not moving that exemption from that house to the new one, it would be no. If you are, then it's going to be yes. Remember, in Texas, you can only have one homesteaded property in Texas. And then are you transferring exemptions from a previous residence? Yes or no. This is important if you have one of the big ones, the disability, the veteran, the VA, disabled vets, or you're over 65. You want to transfer those exemptions to the new house and not restart it because you want that original date to port over here because that's when you froze everything. So that's what we want to see. And then you're just going to fill in the blanks. So what is your marital status, your name, birth date, driver's license number, your phone number, email address, and your percentage of owner. If you and a spouse own a house, it's 50-50. If you own it by yourself, it's 100%. So that's where we're at here. When did you buy the property? When did you acquire it? What's your closing date? When did you move in? What is the physical address and what is the legal description? Remember up here, I told you to keep in mind the legal description. That's going to be lot, block, subdivision, and section. You're going to fill that out here. You can copy and paste from the website in here if that makes it easier. Is your name listed on the deed, the warranty deed? Remember, I told you were going to want the warranty deed. So yes, your name's on there, and then you want the county filing number on there, and that's going to be a stamp that's either on the top of the document or on the last page. If you have any questions when we, you can always call me, I'll walk you through it. is this an heirship property? Did you inherit the property and move in? Yes or no? And does anybody else live there? Manufactured home, if it's a manufactured home, it really needs to be attached to real property. We'll talk about that if you bought a mobile home. Is any of the homesteaded property income producing? So if you work out of your home, yes or no? Or is any of it income producing? And if the answer is yes, if part of it is income, say you rent a room out, then what's the percentage of the home? Make sure that you measure only that and figure out what the percentage of that is. Number of acres, fraction of acreage, not to exceed 20%, or 20 acres. So this is going to be for larger tracts of land. Say you have 10 acres, you live on 1 acre, you have an ag exemption on the other 9 acres. Then 1 acre is your primary residence. The other 9 is an ag exemption. I don't think anyone in our group is going to apply for that. This is a waiver of required documentation. If you're at a nursing home where you can't provide any of the documentation, then you fill these out. And then you will have a driver's license. So you want to make sure you include your driver's license. If you have any other property in Texas, they want those addresses. So if you bought a new home and you're going to leave the old one for rental purposes, then you want to put that in there so that they know that you're not trying to be sneaky and have more than one homestead exemption on a property. You're going to type your name. Your title is yourself, but you really don't have to put that on there. Sign it and click here for date, and then sign and submit. If you forget any of the information, all the important information, everything we just discussed is listed here. You will need the warranty deed, your driver's license, to get all of this done. You have until April 30th to do it, but go ahead and do it now. Don't wait. And let me know if you have any questions. As I mentioned before, we will go and look at the other county websites, just so that you can see their forms are slightly different than Harris County, but it's still the same. You go forms. I like to go ahead and come up here to online forms, Homestead English. And this is the same form that it looks like Brazoria, Galveston, and Fort Bend will use. Same stuff, same information. Are you filing a late application? Yes or no? Remember, you can go back up to 2 years. So if you forgot to file for your homestead exemption the year you bought it, and this is triggering that memory, then you can go back up to 2 years and put the year that it should have been for. The CAD number, this your primary residence, yes. And then which exemption are you qualifying for? Same information you put on the other one, just in prettier blue highlights. That one is, what is that Brazoria? Yeah. So Fort Bend is fbcad.org, and I'm only using one hand, so sorry for the slow typing. Again, we're going forms. We're going to go to forms, and then we're going to go and choose the one that we're filing for. And you can e-file this here. And then you've got to make sure you have your account. You need to be registered with them, or you can do the PDF version and mail it in. I do not suggest doing the PDF version, but you can. Same stuff. Also, you will get something in the mail that says you need to file for homestead exemption. Fill this form out, send it in along with a check for blah, whatever it is. Throw that away. It's trash. I personally, after years of telling people to throw that form away, I got it in the mail and I started to fill it out, and I got to the very end where it said send a check for, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I fell for it. So it looks very, very official. It's not, just trash it. And of course, as always, I am here to help in any way possible. So there's this is Galveston County exemption forms. And then if you have the option of doing the opt-out, there is a way for you to do an internet opt-out. And I really like that. I'm not seeing it here. Here's your residential. If you want to learn more about it. I'm not seeing it here, but Harris County has it. So if we go back to Harris County and you go to forms, let's go to popular forms. The internet opt-out one. I like this because you can tell them, put my address, but don't put my name. So property owner name, Owens Family Revocable Trust, number, address, city, state, and then I can have all the other properties opted out where none of its personal information will be disclosed. I like that. It'll say owner of record instead of my name. Notice of protest. We will get through to protest our property, but we're not there yet. Pretty soon you'll be there. We will, we're going to do another video on how to file for your notice of protest, what to ask for, and then how to go through and protest it. But as of today, what I need you to do is walk around the house, find anything that's broken, any kind of bad condition, anything that needs to be fixed or is outdated. We need to go ahead and start videoing or taking pictures of that for your tax protest. We want to show that you're not in a superb condition, you're not excellent condition, you're just kind of okay or fair, because the taxes are going to be based on, or the appraised value is going to be based on the condition. You know, so go ahead and start zoom in on that thing that's broken or defective or just kind of an eyesore, and then walk around the neighborhood. If you see your next door neighbor likes to put cars up on blocks, that's called external obsolescence. Take pictures of that as well. So we will be in contact with one another on that. But in the meantime, get your homestead exemptions filed. Talk to you soon. Bye.